There we go. Apparently we're live. Right, yeah, session 25 of the Priestess and the Silver Cave, and the last episode of the well, not the finale, the epilogue to the Priestess and the Silver Cave. Okay, so as we finished last time, you guys were leaving the town of Calbris and hightailing it out of there with Akbitanan troops chasing you down, and yeah, clasping the amulet of Tardessa. Who was carrying the amulet of Tardessa?
Ollie. I thought that might have. You didn't pass it off. You still got it.
Don't wear it.
So Aladar...
Yeah, wear it. See what happens. See if you can convince them to turn around.
No, the evil eye will go on him. Go invisible.
I wouldn't joke about the evil eye.
I'm not a hobbit.
It's not good.
It's not a ring, but it's good to still do it.
All right,
Mount Mordor.
The Mount Mordor. What?
Yep.
The country is Mordor. Anyway, yeah. So you guys hightail it away from Calbris, and I should have uploaded a map, and I haven't, and it's
in what direction
now. To begin with, I believe you were heading north because that was getting the hell out of their direction, away from the town. But over the next 6 weeks, you guys trail your way through the countryside of Koth, trying to avoid patrols, trying to not be seen. The tension between Khoraja and Koth is always high. It's there's always tension along that border, and additional to that, the Akbitanan assault into southern Koth. Whilst you get the feeling it's being repelled, it's obviously brought a lot of troops from the north of the country down to the south. You guys do make it through, but I would like each of you to tell me a tale of trying to get back to Khoraja, or crossing the border, or something that happened to the group or yourself on the way.
Okay, so we got to the front line of the campaign, and obviously we're on the wrong side, and we're currently facing the armies of the side we're meant to be getting back into Khoraja. Kaja, being as confident as anything, walks straight up to a local commander and tells them, we're a secret insurgent mission sent to attack and demoralize the Khorajan army. We need 2 hours tonight during the darkness to get through and to instill fear into the enemies. The commander looks at us sheepishly. Never seen a more ragtagged, probably hungry group than we are now. But he looks at us and goes, looking at them blades, they've seen plenty of action, and may you see some more. So we camp down for the night, sleeping, not looking at anyone, not talking to anyone, because we're exhausted from our march. Darkness comes. Actaeon, first one awake, taps everyone's foot. It's time to go. With that, we sneak forward, thinking we're unseen. We manage to break the front of Khoraja's line, and all of a sudden we're surrounded by 30 troops. Immediately, Aladai pulls out his daggers, and the bows of Genghis and Baldur are drawn. But we're recognised, luckily enough, by a local commander who was actually one of the top generals from Akbitana. and he recognises us straight away, and he says, "Ah, you made it! Fantastic!" And we simply walk through our allied army camp to the back of the battlefield, conquering the front line of the armies without any bloodshed at all.
Yeah, I like that. That's very cool. Okay, that's nice. So that's how you crossed from Koth into Khoraja. Somebody tell me about something that happened on the journey through Koth.
I'll go next. So, Koth. Strange place. Very backward. Not a lot of sign of civilization. We wandered along certain dirt roads. We were trying to stay out of the way of everyone and everything because of what we were carrying. And we stopped at a bazaar. Market, more or less. And basically, the idea was to buy refreshments, to buy supplies, to buy some lamp oil, funnily enough, because we seem to have used up all the stuff we've got. And as we're wandering around the stalls, Baldo can't resist a little bit of Khoraja wine, Khoraja mucking about. So he wanders over to the stall that's selling the lamp oil and says, "I need to buy quite a quantity of lamp oil. What's your offers? What's your prices?" And the storeholder, being sort of like a man who knows when he needs to make money, names a very high price. And Balda sort of like beckons Khoraja over, and she gets the wrong idea. She thinks that Balda wants him to intimidate the storeholder. And Balda says, "Look, good-looking woman here. Could be a good sort of like cooking, cleaning maid." And Khoraja basically pulls her thing and starts. Well, Jenny lays her hands on her weapons and gives Balda a very, very strange look. And Balda says, "Look, you set us a lamp oil at this kind of rate, and maybe I won't let you buy this woman as a cleaning woman, and then your life will be much happier afterwards." The storeholder, being the storeholder, immediately gets the idea and says, "Very well," and lowers his price by about half. Balda pays the money, walks away with the lamp oil.
I so wish that Belle was here.
I'm sure you can tell her.
No, because I'd want to know what Khoraja did to get revenge. All right. Go on. I'll be nice and I'll pick Ollie next.
Yeah, I've written somewhere, but I've lost it, so I'm just going to go from memory. Just a kind of little side story of what Aladai was doing. All his cloaks and everything got quite dusty and dust covered, being in all the catacombs. And on his way back, he's like, "You know what? He's a bit tired, a bit dazed after walking, low on food. He's like, I better clean all these, get them all black again, so that I blend into the shadows." But he's not really thinking, and he reaches to what he thinks is the water skin around his back somewhere. Grabs it off and starts pouring what he imagines is water onto this cloak, but only realizes it's not the water when he starts hearing this hissing sound and sees he's pouring the venom onto the cloak, and it's starting to actually burn through it. And then the others would hear some like Stygian cursing and him trying to pat it off and get the venom away. And really, he's now got a huge hole, and he mutters he has to go and buy a new cloak at some point.
That's brilliant. I like that. Okay. So when you finally did, this is one of the reasons why you looked so ragtag trying to cross from Koth into Khoraja. is even the guy that's barely wearing any armor anymore, because the whole front of it's been ripped out by a giant spear. The back of it's not looking too good because there's big holes in your cloak.
Pretty much, yeah.
But at least you had your own lamp oil. Charlie, you gonna give us a tale?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was me. After we crossed the front lines and we're marching along, every night we stop, I sit them around the fire and try and teach them Argosian. They're not very good at it, but I try. They're not making much success. Probably the best one is Aladai, who's seems to be learning it more than the others. Not very well, but he's learning some of it. The accent's horrible. And I'm still moaning about my lost waistcoat. I really like that. From back in the other town. So I'll have to get a new one. That's all my tale is.
Okay. Right. Yeah, so Aladai's gradually trying to pick up Argosian, but with a really bad accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you guys finally make it back through courtesy of this this Khorajan general, who I really ought to find a name for, but hey. Yeah.
Sorry, Louis.
No, it's all right. I've got random name lists for Shem and for Argos, but I do not have any for Khoraja because you're not going to be there that much longer. Yeah. Okay, so you guys make it back to Khoraja. You are welcomed into the palace once the guards work out who you actually are, and both Neferet and Satibus meet you in the main hall, and
What was the name of our guide, Louis?
oh man, now you're asking.
Did he come back, basically, or did he
Okay.
get back?
Yeah, he did. He did. He waited 2 weeks, which I think was what you'd discussed with him, and then decided that okay, that's not going to work. So he sold the rest of the stuff that you guys had. I cannot find his name just at the moment. I knew there was a name I needed to look up. He sold that, found a caravan that was travelling to the east and to the north, and managed to hook up with them and got back to Khoraja about a fortnight before you. So he is very, very pleased to see you when you get there. So you guys are shown into the hall, and quite surprisingly, there are guards about, but quite surprisingly, there is largely only Neferet and Satibus in the hall when you get there, and they beckon you guys in and ask about the amulet. Yeah. So Satibus stands and takes a few steps down as you guys get in through the door of the hall, and as the doors are closed behind you by the guards, he looks anxiously from one to the other and says, "Did you find it? Did you recover it?"
Can we speak here?
He looks around and nods. He says, "Yeah, you are as safe speaking here as you are anywhere."
Aladai.
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah, right. It's
in my other
starts
cloak.
pulling through cloaks. That's dagger. It's not the dagger. It's not the dagger. Here we go. No, sorry. It's a knife. Yeah, got it. Brings it forward.
As Aladai holds it, Satibus looks back to Neferet, and her eyes are wide as she looks, as she kind of stands slowly and is just really focused on it. Satibus walks forwards towards you and is kind of looking at it. Says, "You're You're sure it's the? You're sure this is it?
It was contained within a chamber of glowing lights, and it was wrapped around a tentacle of darkness. No other creature would want to protect such a holy relic. We believe this is it.
There were mushroom farmers too, but I guess they're less important.
Sadibus gives you a kind of slightly strange look at that comment and reaches out almost as if he doesn't want to touch it, but seeing that you're holding it, he looks again at you and sort of almost, his hand comes in slowly and then he kind of snatches it as if he's a little bit tense about it. Takes it and then laughs as he's holding it and turns it over and says, it seems like a bauble that is less than special. Come, where are my manners? Please sit. And there's several servants that bring out chairs for you. And he walks back and holds it up to his wife. Neferet reaches out and takes it and turns it. Looks at it. Looks at the carvings that are inside that spiral in towards the middle of it, and says, This is the amulet of Tardessa. I never thought to hold it. Now we need to work out what to do to keep it safe. And she looks at Satibus and says, but I think your vaults are as good a place as any to start with. And she hands it back to him. He sort of opens a box that's down near the throne and carefully places it inside and shuts it. And turns back. From what we understand, Knufis will be in deep trouble, having managed not to find it, having launched a war on the pretense of getting it. You've done well, my friends. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it here. Tell us briefly what of your journey, of your story. And,
well, I'm sure the guide, whatever his name is, can tell you everything up until getting to is it Eric?
Indeed, you had Akbitana and Shamir, and then returning to Akbitana, and the last he saw of you was crossing the path into Koth, following the might of the Akbitanan army.
Well, we crossed the mountains, where we believed the temple to be. Managed to steal a boat from underneath the Koth army's noses, and
It's a little laugh from Aladine.
broke our way down through the temple, going deep below Kossus and finding older, more darker and ancient gods further down.
As Aladai laughs about the boat, Satibus laughs along with you, and over the next hour or so quizzes you about how you dealt with it and what you found. And both him and Neferet are a very appreciative audience. And eventually, as you get to the story of conning the Gothic general into allowing you to cross into the back into the country, he laughs deep and long, and he claps for the for one of the chief servants, and says, "You must be tired after a long journey. We will take care of the amulet. We will store it away and make sure that Canufis and others like him do not manage to get their hands on it. Please, there are rooms awaiting you. You have the you have the run of the palace. Relax, enjoy yourself. If there's anything you need, ask the servants. And we shall see you soon."
I reach into my bag and pull out a pouch from the top and say, "And part of our cover, Your Majesty, was the trade of goods." And I plonk the gold, or present him the gold.
An honourable man indeed, to bring back such a prize alongside this. I thank you. We will find a way to repay you. I do not know what yet, but go and rest, and we shall speak to you soon. And he calls over points the servant to you and calls over one of the servants, and you hear him talking about food and clothing and stuff. And they lead you out and take you up, and you end up in the same quarters you had when you first visited Khoraja, having rescued Neferet. They are sumptuous, having slept in ditches on the edges of farms for a couple of weeks, and been trying to catch your own food and eat off the land. Having Catanian silk sheets on the beds, soft cushions, food and wine brought to you is definitely going to be a welcome respite. So yeah, is there anything you'd want to do immediately, or do you want to move on to like the next week or two, or?
Yeah. So before everyone's kind of gone off to their rooms to relax and stuff, Aladai would make sure they weren't being massively overheard, and then say, "I'm not usually around more people that much, but you have all proved yourself good friends and allies, so there's probably a couple of things I should tell you. The first of being, my name is not truly Aladai. What it is, I can't tell you. That would just put you in more danger, but there's people back in Stygia who would not want me alive, and probably not you by connection. I usually don't go with any name for a particular amount of time, and Aladai has been for a bit longer than it should have been, because I did not expect to be caught up in all of this. So from now on, you are to call me Sicarius. That is my name. That is what it always has been and always will be. I will explain to our hosts the explanation, but forgive me for not partaking this information to you sooner, but it didn't seem like the appropriate time, and over time I will explain the need for me to change my name, but I feel now it might be a bit heavy after all we've been through.
So
Thank you,
are
friends.
now Sicarius.
Change it in roll 20.
I will do. I will do. That's all.
All right.
I mean, I would want to speak to Satabus quite quickly, as you know.
Okay.
For I would like a letter of introduction.
Okay. You want to get on that pretty much like within the first day or so.
I think now's the time while he's still in awe of the fact that we've bought the amulet back.
Okay. So have you guys talked about what your plans are for the future on the way back to Khoraja? And you've got 6 weeks to...
No, Baldor's just been very quiet. Hasn't mentioned his plans at all.
I've been teaching them Argosian, so I'm assuming they're coming with me.
So you've told them that you're planning on going back home.
My family, yeah.
And I've been listening to the stories of Actian, and he's told me about the luscious farmlands as well, being close to the sea, and that's why I've decided to try and build a farm there.
And Aladai has no plans of going back to his people. Sicarius, yeah. So he's happy to follow along as well.
Okay.
Can I borrow his blacksmith to get my armour sorted out?
Oh, yeah.
Rather than me doing it myself. I can sit and drink wine and,
You guys can... they will repair your armour. I am going to say, shield-wise, I think you probably want to buy your own.
Yeah.
So, as an initial thing, Satabus makes you each a gift of 20 gold. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but in Conan terms, that is quite a bit. He's not giving you literally 20 gold pieces. The money side of things is kind of abstract. So, but basically, one gold is an equivalent of various coins or items or whatever with a rough value of, so that we don't have to try and do that. Okay, so the exchange rate for gems into gold pieces into whatever is. So you guys get a gift of 20 gold, sort of to tide you over while he considers what kind of rewards he can give you beyond kind of the freedom of the city and some rough coinage, but
hospitality.
What can he do beyond that? So yeah, okay. So Genghis wants to talk to Satabus and spend some time discussing plans, trying to get a letter of introduction out of him, which should not be a big deal. What outside of that do you guys want to be doing in the... Well, how long do you want to spend in Khoraja before heading off? I mean, you're going to need... You are hungry and beaten up, and the journey has not been a lot of fun.
How long have we been actually travelling for? Because in my mind, I've pictured 3-4 months.
It's been 6 weeks just getting from Calbriss back to Khoraja. So before then, it took you a month to get out to Akbitana. I think it was 3 weeks to get south to Shamir, to Akbitana again. So that's 6 weeks. So that's 12 weeks. You've been gone. You've probably been gone getting on for 4 months.
So I wasn't too far out, yeah.
No.
I don't know about anyone else, but I think I probably want to spend a fortnight here in some nice... building up our energy again, decent food, decent living, decent people. We want to put ourselves back into a good physical condition, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a lot of time to actually go around and carouse a bit, go to the local bathhouse, just sort of like kick back and relax.
Yeah, couple of weeks then, please, Louis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can definitely do that. Satabus is very very eager to help, and if he can give you introductions to made out
The King
to
of Asgalan.
well, the suggestion that he makes is that perhaps his introduction to the King of Asgalan is probably not, given that he's recently been at war with Akbitana and Shamir, is probably not the best of options. However, what he does suggest is if you're heading back to Argos, there is likely to be there is likely to be plenty of decent farmland there, and he mentions that the Argosians, being so focused on the sea, probably are less jealous of their farmlands than the farmers of Western Shem would be. So his suggestion would be, if you're going to head back with your friend Actaeon, he could write a letter to whoever Actaeon suggests would be the best person to speak to in his local area, and you could probably set up there. It would be probably more conducive to getting you set up well if you were to go to Actaeon's hometown with a letter of introduction from royalty from Khoraja, than if you were to turn up in Western Shem with such a letter.
Your wisdom and advice makes sense, and you know better the affairs of politics greater than I, so I accept your offer, Your Majesty.
He says to speak to Actaeon, or he will speak to Actaeon and discuss who would be best to write the letter to. I would suggest that the best people to write the letter to, he suggests, would be Cesarua. The family Rua pretty much own the town of Gelino, so they would be good people to see. And no, that's more genuinely that. The other person would be Eugenio Donetti, who was, when Actaeon left, the mayor of the town.
3 years ago, though.
A few more than
Yeah.
that. Yeah, five. I think we said 5 years ago.
5.
So those would probably be the two people that it would be best that he wrote to.
Also, do you know of any caravans or travelling troops that are heading to Hikernia?
To Hikernia?
Yes.
I'm sure there are some passing through. Maybe some on... We get traders through that bring silks in from Kitai. We could almost certainly speak to them.
What happened there? That went loud.
Always loud.
Would you be able to request a charter for them silk traders on their return journey to bring my parents here?
I certainly could we could see what we could arrange with that. It's a long journey, as I'm sure you're aware, and even with
I do understand that.
even with silk traders, that will not be an easy that will not be an easy journey.
We're losing you, Louis.
Are you? Am I back?
He's all right. He's all right.
Am I all
Yeah,
right?
no, I've got you. Yeah, I've got you.
Yeah.
Doug, you still there?
Yeah, I am.
Oh no, it's all right. You were very still, and I thought, actually, is it me that they've lost, or is it have we lost you?
Yeah.
Right, give me half a sec.
I do understand that, Your Majesty, but if I am travelling west, then I'd rather eliminate some of that time to have them already travelling here.
You're thinking of bringing them all the way to Argos.
I am. This farm is as much for them as it is for me.
If they are from stock such as yourself, I am sure they will weather the journey well. I will find merchants, and we will find a plan for doing that. Yes.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
We can do this thing. Okay. Is there anything that the rest of you are looking to get from him?
Not from the king, no. Baldur's off down down sort of like to the tavern quarter every day to indulge in a couple of his favourite pastimes.
Right.
Drinking and gambling, of course. Nothing
Right.
else. While he's down there, he's going to bump into a mercenary company.
Okay.
And he's going to recognise a couple of people from this mercenary company.
Okay.
They're going to be fellow countrymen.
Right.
One of them is going to be a very old friend he's not seen for quite a little while.
Yeah.
And he's going to be spending more and more time down there to the point they'll begin to notice that he's not about as often.
Okay. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to leave it for someone else to do something. I'll leave it there for the minute.
Aladai would probably ask the king if he had just heard any general information about goings on in Stygia. Just
Who's
on the off
Aladai?
chance. Shut up.
It'll take a while.
It will take a while, but
Sicarius.
Okay. I'm going to point one thing out before you fully commit to doing this right now, and that is Neferet and her sister, whose name at the moment completely escapes me, are both Stygian royalty.
yes,
they are
I remember
also in
that.
debt with you, but I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that before I.
Aladai currently, Sicarius currently has no issue with them. If it made more sense for him to speak to them, then he would do so.
Yeah.
I imagine. But...
Yeah. The sorry, bear with me a second. I'm trying to do something in the background. Yeah, Satabus says, well, the person to ask would be my wife. If you're curious about, in what area are you curious about your homeland?
Primarily what the priests, the priesthood is currently up to.
I mean, the priests rule everything in Stygia.
Exactly.
I've not heard anything particularly new or worrying coming out of Luxor. That's things are as they often have been there.
That is honestly as much as I needed to hear. Thank you.
Anything we can do to help guard your safety? And he catches himself as he's about to pronounce your name and says, Sicarius.
I should be okay, providing, thank you.
You have quite the level of fame growing around you, even though your name itself is usefully kept in the background. A trip to Argos would not hurt you, I feel.
I quite agree.
Does Neferet ask about Karmat at all?
Yeah, she probably does at some point. I'm trying to work out who she would ask. If she does go looking for... if she does go asking... Oh, hello. There we go. Sorry, I did something in the background and suddenly I noticed my CPU spiking, so I thought I'd better wait for it to hopefully not be dropping out. If she does speak to you guys, are there any of you particularly that would talk to her about Karmat?
I would speak because obviously I spoke to Karmat, didn't I, originally? And I would say, Your Majesty, she is well. She wishes you well, and she asks that is all we can pass on.
I understand. I will admit to being caught between not knowing what my duty should be, but
maybe I can pass a message if our paths were to cross in the near future.
If you find yourself near her, let me consider. I will think of what message to pass. But I would like her to know that I wish her well, and that I miss our conversations.
If you wish the message to be in secret, then a sealed letter will suffice as well.
Indeed. Indeed. I will ponder on this. Thank you for your honesty. So, before we hit the next section of this and get a bit meta with it, what was I going to ask? How are you guys thinking you would want to travel to Argos? I am trying. I'll be honest. In the background, I'm trying to upload the map to.
We're inland a bit at the moment, aren't we? So it's
you're inland quite a way, yeah.
So I mean, it's a horse or caravan.
I think I'd like to detour again through to see Karmat and pass on any message that Neferet has. It's not that far out of the way because it's on the route, isn't it?
It depends on how you plan to get there as to how close on the way it is.
A map frantically.
Well, I'm thinking that if we were to get to Asgalan,
yeah,
that being a port or a coastal town, that Action will be able to arrange seafaring travel to wherever he needs us to go.
Would you want to travel, given everything that you've done, back through Shem? Certainly, not only back through Shem, but to Akbitana and then to Shamir on the way. It's. I mean, the scale on that map is quite large, so it's a fair way
think it's too far out of my way.
I mean,
Okay, well, even if, to be honest, I wouldn't want to give the letter to one of the prince's travelers or guards or anything, because then they'll know where Neferet is.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Neferet, Karmat.
I get that. I'm just trying to work out what would you be doing. How would you get? I was personally quite surprised when you suggested it. So I'm just trying to work out how you see that working. And
well, to be honest, the war's kicked off even more now, hasn't it?
Not particularly. Not between. I mean, the war between Akbitana and Koth. If you're around for sort of more than a week, there are messages coming through. The war has not gone Akbitana's way. You will be pleased to hear. So the war between them has kicked off. The border between Koth and Khoraja has always been tense, but it's not particularly more tense at the moment than it was. If anything, it's slightly less, because a lot of the forces that would have been guarding that border and massed on that border will have gone slightly west to fight the Akbitanan invaders. So yeah, I wouldn't say that actually the war's got necessarily worse.
Well, other than one encounter by Sand People when we went towards Karmat, it was fairly good travelling, really.
True.
And we've not upset anyone there. We kept, although we were seen and recognised, we had good relations. The guard or the guide came back after spending 2 weeks there.
It's fine. If you got, I mean, basically, if you guys together want to do that, I am not going to try and stop you.
I just think if we've had the decency to pass on a message to Neferet and then we can return that message, reaffirming Karmat that her location and everything is still safe and secure, and she can carry on living as she has. But Neferet wishes her well. That we've closed that off. That's all. That's all Genghis is thinking. I
suppose your alternative is to go through Koth, unless you want to really go the long way round. Your alternative is to try and go through Koth and come out in sort of northern Argos. So,
and knowing Genghis' luck, he'll see the general trying to cross back into Koth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. If that's your planned route, that's okay. I will consider what the implications of that is. Simon, I was going to say let's leave Baldur for the moment, because we're not going to get to Argos tonight. So we can. I want to double check with you a couple of bits before we commit to the character you've got drawn up. But what I would like to do is, just for the hell of it, work out what you guys are doing. So, you guys are. Obviously, you're going to want to bring your armor and stuff. You can bring back up to scratch. when you get there, it's you know, you've got the local blacksmiths, the palace blacksmiths that will help you with that, or will do it for you if you're not somebody that wants to rework their own armor, resharpen their own weapons. I can imagine that the concept in Cage's head, the concept of handing tact and diplomacy and all of her armor over to some Khorajan bloke that she's never met before, no matter how skilled he is, probably runs against the grain. I don't know what Baldor's attitude to that would be. But
Cage probably would if someone was there, if she was overlooking it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
She'd want to see it.
But you know, it basically you can. They will do it for you. You can do it yourself. None of that really matters. So armor that you have had sundered and stuff, that you can repair in downtime. If you had if you've sundered or lost a shield, then you're going to need to buy a new shield. If you want to buy different weapons, actually, I was talking to Charlie about this, and Actian wants to swap out a tulwar for a cutlass. You know what? In the current situation, I'm just going to say, yeah, you can do that. You know, while Actian is in the smithy, getting the nicks taken out of the blade of his tulwar. He spots in the right in the back. There's this sword that none of the smiths there particularly know what to do with, and you they see you looking at it and point out and go, yeah, no, that's a strange looking. Who would use a sword like that? And you give them a demonstration of how a cutlass should be used, and they're still not convinced. You know, it's not something the Khorajan military would do, but given how much you like it, they swap it out for your tulwar, and you're now sporting a really flashy looking cutlass, rather than your kind of fairly well solidly used tulwar. You've got this kind of slightly flamboyant cutlass, which is the next best thing to a waistcoat, really.
Yeah. Flash it about.
Yeah. Okay, we're not doing a meeting a patron this time. Yeah, if you guys want to trade stuff out, then you can. You can see I think everybody's got a copy of the book. If there's anything that isn't in the book that you're particularly looking for, I've got, you know, there's stuff in Pirate, there's stuff in Mercenary, there's gear lists in some of those that doesn't otherwise exist. So if there's anything particular you think, oh, what I'd really like is that, let me know and we'll sort that out.
I've got something for you, Louis.
Go on in.
I want to get the description correct. My mother of all snakes fang.
Yes. Which I'd completely forgot about. Yes.
I obviously would like to join Action in a local tavern one night and trying to get a good price for this prized relic.
Okay, so you're looking to find somebody that wants to buy a snake's fang that's slightly longer than a man's hand.
Yeah.
Now, I will do a couple of things here, because obviously, you know, that's definitely going to be worth some money. But what you could do if you wanted to, one of the options in here is to try to cultivate renown. I can't remember if any of you did. Somebody cultivate renown last time we did this?
Charlie's done it once, I think.
Yep.
He has a renown of 1. Okay.
Yes. I was talking in the pub, telling stories or whatever before I got the waistcoat.
I think Genghis has a...
I've got a renown of 1 as well.
A couple of you that are renown of 1. So, one of the things you could do, if you wanted to, is I would give you an extra dice on your each of you. I would give you an extra dice on your renown rolls if you want to try cultivating renown whilst trying to sell such an item. So what I will do is say you can sell it for a gold, which is the same amount that I'm trying to remember what comes in at a gold, but there's a fair amount of stuff you can pick up for just one gold. It is a fair size fang. Okay, I will give you 2 gold that you could otherwise gamble away, or alternately, I would give you 1 free dice in a renown roll and a gold, which is basically the same amount. I feel like that's not quite the. Hang on a sec. So when you sell stuff,
294.
Renown does all sorts of stuff. It changes how much. It changes how much you would pay in upkeep. You can actually end up earning money from it eventually during carousing and stuff.
It costs you a fortune to get it.
It costs you, but it also works with your society roles, etc., etc. If you are a renowned, if people recognise your name, they're far more likely to listen to what you've got to say or treat you with respect in other situations.
So how does the renown role actually work?
So to cultivate renown, basically, you've got some pretty good stories to tell.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to go out and spend a bit of gold, throw some money around, tell of your exploits, like I say, this is where, pull out a snake's fang as long as a man's hand, and there'll be some that will scoff and say, actually, that's a baby elephant's tusk, to uproarious laughter from the rest of the bar. But, you can tell an even better story around a snake's fang that long than you can around the fact that you've come back and have got lots of money and Satabus and Neferet like you. So basically what you do is for every gold that you spend, you get 1 combat dice.
Okay.
If you if the amount you roll on that combat dice is greater than your current renown, then your renown goes up by 1. However, if you roll an effect, then that's gonna end up you will still get your renown, but you're likely to end up with some unwanted trouble as a result. And the more effects you roll, the more trouble you're likely to generate in doing this.
So all I need to do is beat a 1.
You need to beat a 1,
not get an effect,
and not get an effect, and everything will go fine. Well, if you beat a 1, you'll get the renown. It just kind of depends on what else happens.
And how much gold have we got?
So I would have got 2 from the fang. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to accept a gold.
Okay.
From the fang.
And
do the renown roll.
Okay, right. Hang on a sec. So you can spend your own gold. You got 20 gold added to whatever your existing gold was.
I had 16.
You already had 16. Oh my life!
I didn't.
I only had 7.
Okay, so you've now got 27 gold. You've got
minus my shield and a couple of other bits.
I've got 36.
So if you want to spend some gold to try and generate your renown, then I'm guessing that Allardyce doesn't particularly want to be doing that at the moment.
No, he doesn't.
No.
How does he reduce his renown?
It's on 0.
Well,
so
you probably want to keep it at 0, because if you end up with negative renown, there are complications to that as well, because it means you're well known. In fact, renown isn't necessarily that you're known. It's that you're known for really good stuff.
Yeah.
You're known for something.
So you could be world famous with 0 renown, or world famous with -2 renown. But it might not be a good idea to do that.
So as my renown's only 1, I think there's no point in spending extra gold at the moment.
So you're just going to go with, what did I say? Remind me what I said, because I've forgotten.
You said I'll get 2 from the snake's fang if I sell it on its own, or I can take 1 gold and roll 1 die for a renown.
Yep, and you'll get a gold for selling the snake's fang.
That 8
Yep.
takes me back to 19.
So-
I've got 19 gold.
So I will up that now to
23 now.
37 gold. Remove the snake's fang from my belongings and roll 1 combat die. So all I need to do is not get an effect, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's equaled.
Hang on, that's equaled. You need to beat. Oh no, equal to or higher.
Equal to or higher.
Equal to or higher. Okay, so that story goes down. Are you going back to this same white walled bar that looks magic but is?
Yeah, that's the one.
You're going. It looks beautiful outside. You walk in and it's just like straw on the floor. There's occasional blood splatters on the walls that somebody's whitewashed over, but not particularly well.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, the night gets rowdy. Not quite as rowdy, I believe, as the last time Actium was in there.
Yeah.
But the night gets rowdy and the stories pick up. Is Actium likewise going to try boosting his renown?
Oh, yeah.
How many gold do you want to spend on how many dice?
Only 2.
You're going to spend 2 gold? Okay.
Yeah.
Roll me 2 dice.
I will take it off my gold in a minute. Where are you? There you are. Wrong 2, hang on. That's better.
That's better.
Oh, look.
Okay.
Oh dear.
So
But you equalled your renown.
Yeah.
on the bright side, you now have a renown of 2. However, yeah, you're trying to constantly outdo the stories that Genghis is telling, and you're trying to outdrink Genghis, and at some point, and the details become a little hazy, you remember standing on the table with the snake's fang in one hand, using it in a way that is unbecoming for a gentleman, while singing a sea shanty that they weren't previously aware of, and waving the cutlass around. And it's at that point that you cut the lamp to the candelabra, which took out half the table and set light. I'm sure it was somebody's beard. You don't think it was a woman. Yeah, in the spirit of such an evening, you pay for the damage, and it costs you a little bit of money, but they're as you eventually wind is probably the correct word, your way back in the general direction of the palace. Can't quite remember where you woke up. You can hear the echoing sea shanties that you've taught. Something to do with a mermaid, echoing down the alley behind you. But yeah, just scrub off 1 extra gold for that. Have we got a name for this bar, by the way? I know you're unlikely to go back there beyond this evening's festivities, but
The Bleached Wench.
Bleached Wench. Can we not go? Can we not find anything better than the Bleached Wench? I like the bleached.
No, I want Belle to go to the Bleached Wench and have a drink.
Right. Okay. So
I thought we put the white cow. There you go.
How about the bleached figurehead?
Well, it's not near the coast, so it's a bit.
Yeah, you're about as far from far from anywhere that's going to have boats.
Oh, well, okay.
But I will remember that for the.
Can we call it the white dwarf? How's that?
The bearded lady.
Yeah, hello, the bearded lady.
Bearded
There you
lady
go.
will do. Okay.
That's right, it's painted white, yeah, on the outside.
The burnt bearded lady.
So, yeah. So an evening is spent in the bearded lady, teaching them she shanties that they will forever associate with the
And not being able to sing at home. Yeah.
with the name of Actian.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's several of them the next time you see them that are looking decidedly black and blue from when they have been singing it in front of the kids, which they shouldn't have been. Yeah. Okay. So you guys see, a lot of this isn't going to work particularly well. I'm going to leave gambling. I'm going to take that just happens. You guys are going to spend some time learning new skills as well. So Baldur is going to spend time off with his new mercenary mates. It sounds like Genghis and Actian are going out drinking together. If we say that Khoraja is...
Khoraja always comes with us as well.
Khoraja's with us, yeah.
Khoraja is starting to go drinking. She started to split her time before. One night she'll go out with you, and another night she'll go out with Baldur and these mercenaries. And kind of oscillate from one to the other. So I'm going to start with Baldur and Khoraja, and I'm going to say, can nobody's running Khoraja, so I'm simply going to ask Simon to roll 2d20.
Okay. Is this just for me or for Khoraja? Or...
This is just for you.
Oh dear.
A 34.
That's probably not good.
Give me a moment.
Are you looking at the carousing events?
Oh yeah. Okay.
34.
So.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna run this slightly differently because I think I've got an idea. Baldur, from my memory, Baldur was very much go and see what's over the next hill. Go and see what next interesting thing is happening. Okay, so Baldur and Khoraja end up going out. They come back extremely late at night with what's the actually let me go.
Coach's dream, that one. 34.
Let's use this. Swap that. Okay. Okay, so the Madsa, who is the head of the mercenaries that you know from going way back. He's funnily enough from Western Shem. It's amazing black curled beard and really dark piercing eyes. And the three of you are in a tavern somewhere. Everybody goes. You guys go off looking for the next the next thing to turn up, and you are attacked as the three of you are wandering these less salubrious lanes in the less salubrious quarters of Khoraja. You suddenly realise that there are guys coming down off the roofs. There are guys. You're completely surrounded. These guys drop down, and Matza mutters under his breath something about the red hand, and these guys lay in. You guys have all had a chunk to drink.
Well, I'm pretty sure Cage is going to fight back.
Cage is definitely going to fight back. Mads, I mean, the three of you stand back to back, and you just about manage to beat them back and beat them down. Madsa takes some fairly serious damage. He's alive. His life isn't actually threatened, but he's in a pretty bad way by the time you manage to get him back to where the rest of the mercenary crowd is staying. And over the course of the evening, while his wounds are being tended, you hear several of the guys muttering that that's not the first time that's happened. He apparently got into a blood feud with some guys out near Vezek, on the Koranian steppes, and it looks like occasionally people have hunted him down. He keeps moving, thinking that it's going to resolve itself, but it hasn't done yet. And the more famous this mercenary company gets, the easier a target he is to find. What he really needs to do is to find a way of getting away and slipping into the night. But he doesn't want to leave the company in the lurch. And he's not very keen on just disappearing completely on his own.
It's Metza famous for sort of like a certain kind of garb, or is it just everybody knows who he is?
They know that he is associated with that. Whoever it was that he upset. They now know that he is with this group of mercenaries, and therefore, as long as he's around this group of mercenaries, he's easy to track down.
Okay, well, I'm going to suggest to Metza that, rather than leave the company in the lurch, Baldur can take his place in the company. Because I'm assuming this is going to be the same company that the Cimmerian mercenaries I've been hanging around, the Cimmerian mercenaries I've been hanging around with are in as well.
Yeah, there's several Cimmerians there.
Truth is, Baldur's getting a bit homesick, and he's sort of like talking to them of home and sort of like stuff like that. So he's getting around to the way of thinking of, he was thinking he might have to buy his way into this company, but he's kind of seen that there might be a place coming free.
There's definitely a place coming free for you, especially given the adventures you've just been on, and the fact that you are that you're favoured with the royal family. That won't do the company any damage at all. And,
so he's going to suggest to Metza that maybe it's time Metza went and either went into hiding so this group couldn't find him anymore, or maybe went off on his own, sort of like, go and sort out the head of the snake and cut it off, like.
Yeah, he's definitely happy with that, and he looks between Baldur and Kaja, and likewise says to Kaja, if you're looking for work, they're good steady lads. They'd be keen to have you.
Baldur said, well, she's more than welcome to come with me in with the mercenary company.
Okay, so we will have Madza packs his bags, gets a couple of the guys to cover for him and leaves the next night, leaving Baldur and Kaja now as part of the mercenary group and bolstering their numbers, which they all seem extremely happy with. So the other three of you, you know what? We'll do one last carousing event. I would like the four of you each to roll me a 2d20. Pretty sure it's yes. You'd each roll 2d20. Right.
Do it on here this time, I guess.
Go on.
Oh, look at that roll!
Okay, we got a 2 and a 2 and a 4. Okay, and I believe characters attack them carousing individually. If the characters are carousing as a group, 1d20 for each character. Add the 2 left. Ah, right. Okay, right. I've slightly messed that up, but I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do it that way, and I'm gonna say. Yeah, you know what? I really, really don't like that. Let's go for the other one. Let's cheat. Yeah. So the farewell. Let's have a look. I'm looking at the time. Right. Okay. So Baldur and Kaja announce what they're doing. Satabus, when he hears of it, is summons in the guy that's currently running the mercenary company, and has a discussion with him that Baldur and Kaja are not privy to, but the company are within a week working on the walls of that separate Koth from Khoraja, and manning that in fairly well paid and fairly safe as far as mercenary roles go. This is normally a role which is only allowed for normally it's only given to groups which are Khorajan. For a mercenary company to get this role is really unusual. The company are really chuffed. You know, they've got the option to earn good coin. They are still absolutely doing what they want to be doing, but they're not any more likely to be in the vanguard for the suicide missions. So that's working really well, and on the back of that news, you guys all go out for one final drink a couple of nights before you set out for Akbitana, Shamir, eventually Asgullen, and finally for Gelino. There are minstrels in town. The prices are astronomical, but just about everybody is buying drinks. And the night is pretty mega. And I think what I'm going to do, I know it's a bit early, but what I'm going to do is call it there as as we zoom out on the characters celebrating together before going their separate ways, as one group have been given military positions and the others are heading west, back to Actaeon's home. So if that sounds good to everybody, I'll call it there. Don't go anywhere, because I have got a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about afterwards. But for anybody that's watching, that's the end of the Priestess and the Silver Cave. We will probably end up doing some kind of one-shot or short game, but I'll be coming back to Conan once I've managed to get the coast of Argos and that kind of area as well stocked as I think I probably need to have in order to run the game that I want to run. So if you've enjoyed that, that's great. If you've been watching, that's great. And we'll run something in a couple of weeks, and then probably in about a month's time we'll pick up Conan again. So bye.